Chapter 12 No Room for Leopard. Learning Objectives explores the relationship between humans and animals. Warm up, look at the given table, match correctly and read the information about 5 different animals loudly in the class. Serial number, animals, type, quality. 1. Cow, domestic, dangerous, kills to eat. 2. Snake, wild, eat plants and leaves, gives milk. 3. Elephant, wild, eat bones, milk, etc. Friendly, first to be domesticated. 4. Dog, domestic, creepy crawler, dangerous, mainly found in forest. 5. Tiger, wild, big, eat plants and leaves, can be tamed. Ruskin Bond, 1934, is one of the most popular contemporary short story writers of recent times. He resides in Missouri at the foothills of the Himalayas, which is blessed with an abundance of natural beauty, flora and fauna. Bond is anxious about the depletion of natural environment at the cost of urbanization and industrialization. His concerned anxiety is reflected in his short stories. Above all, his stories inspire the readers a sense of duty and responsibility to the environment. Ruskin Bond's stories are full of nature, animals and people. In this story, the author's admiration of nature and animals is obvious. His encounters with various animals, especially the leopard which lives in the valley below, led to mutual trust. Let's know what makes the peace of the valley broken. I first saw the leopard when I was crossing the small stream at the bottom of the hill. The ravine was so deep that for most of the day it remained in shadow. This encouraged many birds and animals to emerge from cover during the hours of daylight. Few people ever passed that way. As a result, the ravine had become a little heaven for wildlife. Below my cottage was a forest of oak and maple and Himalayan rhododendron. A narrow path twisted its way down through the trees. At the bottom of the hill, a path led onto a grassy wood surrounded by wild dog roses. The streams ran close by the verge, tumbling over smooth pebbles. Nearly every morning, I heard the cry of the barking deer. I saw pine martens and a handsome red fox. I recognized the footprints of a bear. As I had not come to take anything from the jungle, the birds and animals soon grew accustomed to my face. After some time, my approach did not disturb them. The langurs in the oak and rhododendron trees, who at first would go leaping through the branches at my approach, now watched me with some curiosity as they munched off the tender green shoots of the oak. However, one evening as I passed, I heard them chattering in the trees and I was not the cause of their excitement. It was as though the langurs were trying to warn me of some hidden danger. A shower of pebbles came rattling down the steep hillside. I looked up to see an orange-gold leopard poised on a rock about 20 feet above me. It was not looking towards me, but had its head thrust attentively forward in the direction of the ravine. It must have sensed my presence because it slowly turned its head and looked down at me. It seemed a little puzzled at my presence there. Then, to give myself courage, I clapped my hands sharply. The leopard sprang away into the thickets, making absolutely no sound. I had disturbed the animal in its quest for food. But a little later, I heard the quickening cry of a barking deer as it fled through the forest. The hunt was still on. The leopard, like other members of the cat family, is nearing extinction in India, and I was surprised to find one so close to Missouri. Probably the deforestation that had been taking place in the surrounding hills had driven the deer into this green valley. It was some weeks before I saw the leopard again, although I was often made aware of its presence. At times, I felt certain that I was being followed. Once, when I was late getting home, I saw two bright eyes staring at me from a thicket. I stood still, my heart banging away against my ribs. Then the eyes danced away, and I realized they were only fireflies. In May and June, when the hills were brown and dry, it was always cool and green near the stream where ferns and long grasses continued to thrive. One day, I found the remains of a barking deer that had been partially eaten. I wondered why the leopard had not hidden the remains of his meal. Probably he had been disturbed while eating. Climbing the hill, I met a party of hunters resting beneath the oaks. They asked me if I had seen leopard. I said I had not. They said there was a leopard in the forest. The hunters had seen the carcass of the deer and the leopard's pug marks, and they kept coming to the forest. Almost every evening, I heard their guns banging away, for they were ready to fire at almost everything. "There's a leopard about," they told me. "You should carry a gun." "I don't have one," I said. There were fewer birds to be seen, and even the langurs have moved on. I thought no more of the men. They were unpredictable and to be avoided if possible. One day after crossing the stream, I climbed Paritibba, a bleak, scrub-covered hill where no one lived. This was a stiff undertaking because there was no path to the top, and I had to scramble up with the help of rocks and roots. At the top was a plateau with a few pine trees, their upper branches catching the wind and humming softly. There I found the ruins of what must have been the first settlers, just a few piles of rubble now overgrown with weeds, sorrel, dandelion and nettles. As I walked through the roofless ruins, I was struck by the silence that surrounded me. The silence was so absolute that it seemed to be shouting in my ears, but there was something else of which I was becoming increasingly aware. The strong odor of one of the cat family. I paused and looked about. I was alone. There was no movement of dry leaf or loose stone. The ruins were, for the most part, open to the sky. Their rafters had collapsed and joined together to form a low passage-like entrance to a mine. This dark cavern seemed to let down. The smell was stronger when I approached this spot. I stopped again and waited there, wondering if I had discovered the lair of the leopard. I wondered if the animal was now at rest after a night's hunt. Perhaps it was crouched there in the dark, watching me and recognizing me as a man who walked alone in the forest without a weapon. I liked to think that he was there and that he knew me and that he acknowledged my visit in the friendliest way by ignoring me altogether. I did not venture any further. I did not seek physical contact or even another glimpse of that beautiful creature. Springing from rock to rock, it was his trust I wanted, and I think he gave it to me. But did the leopard, trusting one man, make the mistake of trusting others? Because next day, coming from the path of the stream, shouting and beating their drums, were the hunters. They had a long bamboo pole across their shoulders, and slung from the pole, feet up, head down, was the lifeless body of the leopard. It had been shot in the neck and in the head. "We told you there was a leopard," they shouted in great good humor. "Isn't he a fine specimen?" "Yes," I said. "He was a beautiful leopard." I walked home through the silent forest. It was very silent, almost as though the birds and animals knew their trust had been violated. I remembered the lines of a poem by D.H. Lawrence, and as I climbed the steep and lonely path to my home, these words echoed in my mind. "There was room in the world for a mountain lion and me." Ruskin Bond. Find meaning, rewind, deep narrow gorge, encourage, confidence. Maple, any of various tree, grow for shade. Rhododendron, evergreen shrub with large clusters of trumpet-shaped flowers. Accustomed to, habitual. Curiosity, a strong desire to know something. Munch, eat steadily with a marked action of the jaws. Sprang, jumped. Quest, search or the act of seeking. Quicken, give life or vigor to. Extinction, making extinct that has died out. Thrive, grow rich. Ruin, destroyed or wrecked state. Collapse, to fall down or break down. Exercises, creative expression. Tell your story. 1. There was room in the world for a mountain's lion and me. Why do you think these words echoed in the author's mind? 2. Almost as though the birds and animals knew their trust had been violated. In which context the writer has given this statement? Do you think the writer is emotional and sad with the killing of the beautiful tiger? Cross-curricular connect. Learning by doing. Animals are living organisms other than humans which feed on organic matter and are able to respond rapidly to stimuli. We come across various English words while studying animals. Here is a list of animal words with the help of the internet. Find one animal, each related to the group. Threatened, consumer, endangered, primary, extinct, secondary, carnivore, domestic, herbivore, migrate. Critical thinking. Let's play a game. Role play. Put the students into groups of 3 and let them act as the narrator. Student A, you are the narrator. You first saw the leopard after crossing the small stream at the bottom of the hill. Student B, you are the narrator. You heard the chattering of langurs in the trees. Student C, you are the narrator. You clapped your hands and disturbed the animal who was in search of animals. After this, discuss how the narrator has a great understanding of animals. Logical thinking. Tanya is nervous about going on stage. However, she loves the idea of reciting poetry and making speeches. One day, her teacher announces that her class has to conduct the school assembly the next week. She asks if any student would like to read a short speech. Tanya raises her hand. Do you think Tanya made a logical decision? Why? Exercise time. Answer the following questions. 1. What did the author see when he was crossing the small stream? Answer. He saw the leopard while he was crossing the small stream at the bottom of the hill. 2. Why did the author say the ravine had become a little heaven for wildlife? Answer. Author said that because the ravine was so deep that for most of the day it remained in shadow. This encouraged many birds and animals to emerge from cover during the hours of daylight. Few people ever passed that way. As a result, the ravine had become a little heaven for wildlife. 3. Why did no one live on Paritibba? Answer. Paritibba, a bleak, scrub-covered hill where no one lived. This was a stiff undertaking because there was no path to the top and had to scramble up. With the help of rocks and roots at the top was a plateau with a few pine trees, their upper branches catching the wind and humming softly, the ruins of what must have been the first settles, just a few piles of rubble, now overgrown with weeds, sorrel, dandelion and nettles. Number 4. The hunters advised the author to carry a gun. Why? Answer. Hunters advised the author to carry a gun because there are a lot of wild animals in hills and they were unpredictable and to be avoided. 5. When did the author hear the cry of the barking deer? Answer. In May and June, when the hills were brown and dry, it was always cool and green near the stream, where ferns and long grasses continued to thrive. Author found the remains of a barking deer that had been partially eaten. Find their meaning. 1. Abundance, a very large quantity of something. 2. Rattling, to make somebody suddenly become worried. 3. Excitement, the state of being excited, especially because something is interesting, happening, or will happen. 4. Attentively, while giving attention. 5. Deforestation, cutting down trees over a large area. 6. Leaping, to jump high or a long way. 7. Puzzled, not able to understand or explain something. Fill in the blanks. 1. Ruskin Bond is fond of nature stories. 2. He resides in forest at the foothills of Himalaya. 3. The protagonist of the story recognized the footprint of leopard. 4. The leopard is a member of cat family. 5. The leopard is considered an endangered animal in India. Take the right options. 1. The ravine was deep. A. To remain in shadow. B. It was full of light for most of the day. C. Animals lived in it. Answer A. To remain in shadow. 2. A narrow path twisted its way down tells us A. Cottage was on the top of the hill. B. A cottage was at the bottom of the hill. C. The path went to the river. Answer B. A cottage was at the bottom of the hill. 3. The narrator believed that the leopard showed trust and friendship by A. Not harming him when he went to its lair. B. Turning his head towards him. C. Following him about. Answer A. Not harming him when he went to its lair. Match the following. Column A, column B. 1. Maple, any of various trees grown for shade. 2. Munch, chew steadily with a marked action of the jaws. 3. Ruin, destroyed or wrecked state. 4. Collapse, fall down or break down. 5. Echo, repetition of a sound by reflection of sound waves. Conceptual understanding, tell your story. Based on your understanding, what habits or behavior of the leopards do you get to know from the story? Do it yourself. Communication, writing skills, speech or debate. While writing a speech, always remember the following points. A. Greet the audience first, take a dear position. B. Make a dramatic opening. C. Present your claims or counterclaims with statistics and quotations. D. Give your opinion in the concluding paragraph. E. Don't forget to thank the audience. Imagine that you are the writer of the story. No room for a leopard. Write a speech to appeal to the people to be kind to animals. Also encourage people to speak about their mistreatment. Reading skills. Read the sentences and answer the questions that follow. 1. It must have sensed my presence because it slowly turned its head and looked down at me. A. Who had sensed the speaker's presence? B. What did it do when it saw the speaker? C. What did the speaker do when he realized that he had been seen? 2. There is a leopard about. They told me. You should carry a gun. A. Whom do they refer to in the above sentence? B. How did they get to know that there was a leopard around? C. What changes could be observed in the forest with their presence? Listening and speaking skills. Your teacher will read out some phrases. Listen carefully and write them under correct sense words. Hearing, sight, smell, touch. Let's learn spellings. Complete the spelling with N or NI. 1. Rewind. 2. Animal. 3. During. 4. Tumbling. 5. Morning. 6. Barking. 7. Marine. 8. Recognized. 9. Footprints.